Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay. Have you tried anything with MongoDB earlier? Or you have approached, you have any idea what is MongoDB, why we need it and all those things?
Um, yes, ma'am, I have a little bit of idea about MongoDB.
Huh.
Okay, it has different nodes, and then
Hmm.
data can be
Hmm.
processed at different nodes, and then
Hmm.
aggregator. One place it can get aggregator, right?
Yeah,
So
correct,
when we
correct,
have big
correct,
queries and
correct.
all,
Huh,
we
huh,
can
correct.
use the compute power of different nodes.
Hmm.
We can compute it there,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then at one node we can do the aggregation. So
Hmm.
it's like
Correct, correct.
split and achieve
Huh,
kind of.
correct, correct. See, when we the start with the MongoDB, there are two prerequisites are there to take a MongoDB thing. The
Mm-hmm.
first requisite is that the student, whoever wants to learn MongoDB, they should have good knowledge of SQL, RDBMS database. That is mandatory. They should know SQL very well, or at least basic to intermediate level SQL knowledge they need to have to work with, to start to learn MongoDB.
Hmm.
Because this is entirely based on SQL, and we are taking from SQL, we are taking it forward to the next level. And the second prerequisite to go for MongoDB is if they have the knowledge of JSON. JSON is one of the data format. So that JSON knowledge they should have. It's not it's advisable, not mandatory, but SQL knowledge they should have. So that is one of the prerequisite to go for the MongoDB. And why people prefer to go for MongoDB is in the traditional RDBMS databases, what will happen is the table structure is very rigid. Any data, it should be confined to that rigid table structure. Okay. You don't have any much flexibility is not there. You have to store the data in the tabular format only. You don't have any other option with the traditional database system. But when it comes to MongoDB, first thing is that MongoDB is a NoSQL database. That is the first part. The second important thing is that it is called as document-based database. A document-based database means where the data will be stored in the JSON format or the normal text format instead of tabular format. So that is one of the major difference between MongoDB and the traditional RDBMS database. When it comes to the structure of the database, it is more flexible compared to the normal traditional RDBMS databases. Shall I keep continue explanation?
Yes, ma'am. Please carry on.
Okay. Next is what is MongoDB? MongoDB is a open source document oriented NoSQL database that stores the data in the form of a key and value pair. So that is the key value pair. That is very important. Like if you are aware of dictionary in Python, it is similar to that. And the format it stores the data is the JSON format. And even before we start how to install MongoDB, how to work with MongoDB, this is very, very important. I told you, no, the prerequisite to study MongoDB is you should be aware of RDBMS database. In what way, how we can compare this MongoDB with RDBMS is, in RDBMS, you will have the database. In MongoDB also, you will have the database. We call that as schema. In RDBMS databases, you will have tables. In MongoDB, same tables, we call them as collections. Table contain rows and columns. In collection also, you will have similar to rows and columns, you will find document. Rows are called as documents. Columns are called as fields in the MongoDB data. This is how we compare terminology wise. This is how we compare RDBMS with MongoDB. Next important thing is the same thing has been given over here. The difference is in relational database. MongoDB is a non-relational database, or it is a document-based database. In SQL database, data will be stored in table format. In MongoDB, it will be stored as a collection. And in SQL database, we can store the data in multiple tables, and we will be querying it using joins to get the data. In MongoDB, data will be stored in the collection, not one collection. Under one database, we can have multiple collections. And in traditional SQL database, it will take more time to fetch the data for you. But compared to that, data access will be faster. Data access will be faster in the RDBMS database. Any questions?
No, ma'am, I'm good.
Okay. Hello, Neha. Good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, I have just started. Yeah, thank you for joining, Neha. Okay. So now, since it is a open source, so how to install this MongoDB database? If you know how to install MySQL database, the traditional MySQL database, in the same manner, we can install the MongoDB database. So when it comes to MongoDB database, basically we have two types of databases are there. One, we call it as MongoDB Cloud. Second is local database. What is the MongoDB Cloud? So database installed will be on the cloud, and we can access it from anywhere because it will be on the cloud, like OneDrive and all. We have no like a cloud-based. Anything cloud-based, we will be able to access it from anywhere. But if you install MongoDB as a local database, so then it will be installed on your local system. And then you can, it will be used only in that particular laptop or system where you have installed it. So you will be able to access it. And it is you have two types of databases are there, local and cloud-based. The database what I have taken is, this is the this is called Compass database. Compass database means it is a local database. You need to download it and then you need to install it. Like it will take little time, like within 5 minutes you can install the local data. This is what I have installed. It's a Compass, one type of local MongoDB database. So once it is installed, so you need to, it will open a GUI interface for you where you can just say connect. So it will be connected to your local database. So if you see my screen already, lot of new databases I have already created. If you want to create any new database or any new schemas, so you can directly create it from here. So just click on create database and then provide the database name. For example, I'll say demo DB1. And then you have to also give a collection name. Collection means your table name, and then click on the create database. So what will happen? The new database will be created. Generally, after creating the collection, you need to fill the data in the database. How you can fill the data or how you can import the data? Like a traditional RDBMS database, you can directly insert the data, but it is very tedious process in the real time. So you have a provision here, so where you can import the data, which is already there with you in an Excel file or in the CSV file or in the JSON file. So any file, whichever the file you have the data, so you will be able to import the data and fill your MongoDB collections with the data. It is not mandatory that you have to create the data manually. You can just get it from other sources and you can fill your collection with the data. So this is the one way of interacting with the server. The other way of interacting with how you will going to interact with the server is, so you will find a shell. Mongo is a shell. It's a command line interface for you. So command line interface means everything, all commands, you should like type it from the keyboard. Okay, this is the interpreter. So this is one way of using or interacting with the MongoDB schema or the database. Or you have the shell, separate shell only is there. Let me share my screen. Separate shell only will come to you like this. So this is the separate Mongo shell. So from here, you will be able to interact with the data, the MongoDB databases. So it's clear now? Any doubt?
Then can you share the link to download that Compass database?
You want the link? Yeah, I will. I'll show you. Yeah, link is shared, and yes, you can download it and you can follow this path from on my screen. You're seeing the path, right? You can just follow this path.
Okay.
And you can just download it. And even the shell also, you need to download it separately. Like the shell also, you need to download it separately. That link also, let me just share that link.
Okay.
This is the link to download the shell. Shell will come in the zip file format and you have to extract it and you can just use it. So by default, it will be connected to the test database or it will be connected to the test schema. But at any point of time, you will be able to work with only one schema. So, for example, currently that whatever the schema that we have created, what schema we have created currently. So the schema that, one second. The currently schema created schema is demo DB1. So if you want to connect to that schema, you can just say like use demo DB1. So you can switch the database like this. You can switch from one schema to other schema like this. So you have to basically give the use is a command name, and then you have to see that whatever the schema you want to connect, you can directly connect it. So it will be connected to, you are already in that particular schema. And then if you want to see what all collections you have or what all tables collections are similar to tables. If you just say show collections, see this has already got one collection, what I have already created. So you will find, it will list all the collections under that particular database. In SQL, basically how you will going to create a table. Similarly, you can create the collection directly under the any particular schema. So, and it is highly case sensitive, like your SQL is not case sensitive. One of the major difference between MongoDB and SQL is not case sensitive, but MongoDB is highly case sensitive. It makes a difference between the uppercase and the lowercase character. So you should be very careful. So now let me just give you a demo of how to create a schema. So you can say like create collection. And for example, I want to create one student collection, like a student table. So I can just type like this and a collection will be created. If a collection is properly created, so it will give you the confirmation message like that. Okay, one. So like that, it will create it will give you the confirmation message. After that, again, if you just go back and check, no? So you can see right now I have two collections under my schema. And then in the next part, so what is the very important thing is in SQL also, once after you create the table, after creating the table, so the next step is you have to insert rows to the table. You have to update or modify the rows from the table. And also you have to delete the rows from the table. And next is the query, all DML commands, insert, update, delete, select. For all these 4 commands, you have an equivalent commands are there in MongoDB. But all these commands, in SQL it is commands, but in MongoDB, it will be implemented in the form of a function. So for example, if you take up insert, in MongoDB, we have equivalent to insert command, we have 2 important functions are there. One is insert one. Insert one means at any point of time, it will allow you to add only one row to the table. And you have insert many. Insert many means it will help you to add multiple rows to the table. Like that, you have, like how you have the insert. So you have update also, update one, update many, delete one, delete many is there. And equivalent to select command, you have the find function is there. So this is just a similarity, like what SQL commands you have and what commands you have equivalent to that. So in case of the MongoDB. So before even we proceed with these commands, like how to use these commands. So very important point, what you have to understand here is, so what is JSON? JSON, any idea what is JSON? JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. So JSON is a format for encoding the data in the human readable format. So in JSON, basically, we will going to store the data in the key value pairs. If you are familiar with Python dictionary, the same format we use to store the data in the MongoDB collections. And always it will come in the pair. You will have a key, you will have a value. And key and values are connected by semicolon, colon, and always the data will be enclosed within the flower bracket. And the type of value, the data type, JSON data types you have like string, number, object, array, boolean, null. All these types of values are even supported by MongoDB. The basic of JSON is very, very important even before we proceed with the MongoDB. See here, I have given some of the samples you can see on my screen, like string, how string will be represented, how numbers will be represented, and how object will be represented, how array will be represented. Array again like a Python list, you have to give within the square bracket. Objects will be represented in the dictionary format, and it also supports the Boolean value and the null value. So these formats are only for your reference. So this is one more how we are connecting the relational database with that of the MongoDB database. One very important difference is there between the SQL relational table and the MongoDB table. Generally, in the relational table or in the traditional RDBMS table, you will going to manually define the primary key. What is the purpose of the primary key? Ensure that one column will take unique and the not null values. But in MongoDB, that concept is not there, because the moment you add new collection, new document to your collection, see if you can see here, an ID will be generated automatically by the MongoDB database. So for each and every document or a row, what you added to MongoDB collection, an unique ID, object ID will be generated by MongoDB. So therefore, in MongoDB, whenever you are creating collection, no need of defining the primary key, no need of setting the primary key, like how we used to do in the traditional RDBMS fields. Any questions at this point of time before I go to commands?
If there is no need to create a primary key, so this means we can have duplicate values in MongoDB collection.
Yeah, collections can have the duplicate values, but the unique, but that what I can say, that uniqueness will be ensured by that IDs. That uniquely generated IDs will be there, no? So based on that, we can ensure the uniqueness of each document in the collection.
Okay.
It takes the duplicate values. It takes, but that uniqueness will be ensured by that ID. What ID and the unique ID, whatever it is generated by MongoDB. That is one thing you have. The other thing is that in SQL, I think you are aware of, we can specify unique key constraint, correct? No, primary key you don't have in MongoDB, but you have something called unique key constraint is there in SQL, if you remember. Like that kind of constraints we can apply on a MongoDB collection to ensure that the user-defined fields will take only unique values. That kind of constraints we can apply. Primary key constraint we cannot apply.
Okay.
Primary key, what we formally define in SQL database, no, that we cannot. That is, we need not going to define in MongoDB collection. But unique key constraint we can apply. And foreign key, like how we do in traditional RDBMS, foreign keys also we can. Some difference is there in the constraint. Any other questions?
No, ma'am, I'm good.
We are following what I am explaining?
Yes.
Okay. Next, I told you like the similar command, create collection, is similar to your create table. And also, I already told you like how to create a table in the MongoDB. And then whenever you want to add the row to the table, generally in real time, so we will not add manually any rows over here. Okay. Basically, after creating the collection, we will fill the collections with the data which is coming from either from CSV file or from the JSON. To insert the value into this particular one row or one document to the collection, the function that we will be using is insert one function. So in the all fields, whatever fields we want to specify in that, we want to add it to the collection. So all the fields will be enclosed within the flower bracket. So that is mandatory. And like a traditional RDBMS tables, there is no strict guidelines or rigid structure we need to specify. We need not specify the structure, table structure. It can be flexible. It is not like a predefined one. It's not so rigid what you find like in the RDBMS databases. So always, whenever you are adding the values will be added in the, or it will be stored in the key value format, like a Python dictionary, like how I mentioned, no? And it is flexible in terms of adding number of fields, no? Number of fields can vary from one document to another document. Number of fields can vary in MongoDB. That's why the structure-wise it is very flexible. It is not so rigid like your traditional RDBMS database. Your insert one is similar to insert command in SQL. Insert command in SQL. So let me go back to my shell, the Mongo shell, and then what I will do, I will just how to add one row to that table. So like again here we already have a collection. So here give the collection name. Collection name is student, and that I told you, no, all these functions are case sensitive. So and in here you can just open the flower bracket. You can start adding the row. For example, roll number 2000. And even we don't for the field, no. So we will not specify initially the strict data type. Also, we will not specify. But the text values we will give within the double. Number values we are giving 10. For example, like course. So like this. And at the end, you press enter. If the command is successful, so it will print a message for you like this. So like this, you can just keep adding multiple rows to the table. So one more, just for sample purpose, one more just adding. So like this, I can keep on adding rows to my table. Then how to query this table or how to query this? So we can query like you have a find equivalent to the select command. So you have the find function. So you can just say find, so it will print the data, sorry, output in that format. And I was telling you about that unique ID, right? The unique ID. So if you can just see this object ID, this is actually internally it is generated by MongoDB database. This is what I was telling you, which is equivalent to your primary key, whatever we specify in the database. But here it is uniquely generated. So this is how we will be querying the data from the data. Suppose if you use find function, no? So you can query the data from the database. Any questions at this point of time?
No, ma'am.
It is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And then the next important part is that how we will give condition, where class, correct? No. So condition we can give like this. Say for example, I want to just roll number 2005. If I want to see that, this is how we will be specifying the condition. So it will show only that row. You can specify single condition. You can specify multiple condition as per your requirement. That is a separate topic will come. Operators. Almost in SQL, what all operators are there? AND operator, comparison operators. All those operators are supported by MongoDB. But you don't have operators like the between kind of operators are not. Between, in and out. Similar to that, some other operators are. And then, yeah, we'll go for the one more for the update one. The student. One second, let me check the syntax. So all these are the example, like just now what I gave the demo, no, the same example. So here, this is fine. Collections here. Okay. So whenever you want to add multiple rows to the table, so you can add these two. So if any errors are there, see, it will show the error. And these errors are common because, so whenever you copy from one editor to other editor, no? So these brackets are, if the formats are not correct, right? So that time it will show you that kind of errors. So you have the function called insert many, using that insert many. And here important thing is that whenever you are specifying multiple rows, now it should be given within the square bracket, like how we do in Python list. It is similar to that. Any questions, Lunashri?
No, ma'am. This is good. I can understand.
Yeah, you're able to understand it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 minute. Then let me go back to my this one, modify. Okay, update one. How to change update? Okay. Yeah, for modification. So this is the syntax you have to follow. So you have to give the collection name followed by update one. So update one is the function that what we will be using to modify the collection. So here in this one, the first part is generally in the normal update command, what will happen? First, we will give set and we will give all the column names, right? What all columns data we want to modify in RDBMS. And at the end, we will give the where class. That is in the RDBM, traditional RDBMS database. But in MongoDB, that is different. First, whatever the first part that you will be giving, that is the condition. The second part is the changing, whatever you need to change. So, for example, like, this example, so I want to change the name from Indu to Indira. So you can just use the same update one. So I told you, first you have to specify the condition. In this example, so I'm specifying the condition. So based on the roll number call. So I'm specifying that condition. After the condition, so we have this operators, set operator is there. So here one more new thing you can observe here is whenever we are using any operators, all the operators will begin with a dollar symbol. All the operators will going to begin with a dollar symbol. For example, I want to change the name to Indira. So whatever the name I am giving, so I'm changing the column name I'm changing, and the name also I'm changing. And how many brackets that you have opened? One you have given before set, one you have given before the condition. All the brackets need to be closed. And if it is correct, the message will come. And again, if you query, so you can see the changed name will come over here. So the changed name, you can see it over. This is the update one. Using update one, you can modify only one document. But if you want to update multiple documents, so then you have update many functions. Using update many, so you can update the many function. Sorry, multiple documents in the collection. So similar to update one. So the next part you have is the delete. So for delete, like update one, you have the function called delete. Delete one, and you need to specify the condition. So for example, so here, like in the SQL also, along with the delete command, we will give the where class, right, for the condition. So here also the where clause is like the condition is mandatory. So we can just delete it. So it will be deleted. Again, if you go back and query the table. Okay. So then see it is deleted. Delete one will delete one row at a time. So like this equivalent to SQL, and another important point what I want to highlight is in SQL many things we have like a group by, all the things we will use in the form of clauses. But when it comes to MongoDB, to perform everything, we use the operator approach. Like how you can see the set, like that even for multiple things, even to specify the group, you have operator. Even to specify the filters, condition, you have operators. So that is the another approach you have. And when it comes to joins and subqueries, it is clarity is not there. Like in SQL, we have a proper syntaxes are there for joins and for subqueries, for everything. But in MongoDB, we don't have these straightforward methods are not there. We have to follow some turnaround method we have to use to imitate what we do in SQL. The same thing we can be able to do it in MongoDB. Any questions, Lunashri?